Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of Powered by Music, where we talk about everything music. We are joined by a very special guest today. She is a professional topliner and vocal artist, and she goes by the name of Amy Wallace. Amy, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on board. How's it
Oh,
going out there for you in Canada?
not too bad actually. We're moving into our autumn season, so a lot of the leaves are changing right now. We're getting into the colder rain, and
Mm.
so it's we're definitely feeling the effects of like, all right, winter's on its way. So
Yeah,
got to
yeah.
start prepping.
Let me ask you something, Amy. When it comes to the autumn weather, does it get a little bit more I guess like is it more like drowsy weather, would you say? Like it's very, very rainy and very heavy, things like that?
Yeah, it can be a bit more common, that's for sure. Sometimes I know last year it wasn't as bad. So far this year, we're starting to see a bit more rain and everything. So,
Mm.
and actually the leaves have been changing earlier. So
Oh,
normally we don't really start seeing them until about now to late September, whereas they started like early September. So we're like, oh, okay. So
nice. Nice, nice. Well, I love it. Well, guys, just to give a little bit of a backstory on how and me and Amy met, it was definitely via social media. I had, in the community that I'm involved with and that she's involved with, our stars kind of aligned, so to speak. And it was one of those things where I fell deeply in love with some of the projects that she was working on at the time, and wanted to reach out and introduce myself. And just like I said, our stars became aligned, and we worked on an amazing project together called Exploration, which was awesome, and we'll definitely talk about that in the midst of this episode. And yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. Amy, I really want to talk about the premonition with you being involved with music. Where did it all begin? Where did the journey first start out as?
Pretty much when I was a little girl, actually, my grandfather noticed that I had a voice very young, and it was when I was watching Charlotte Church on a program on TV, and I just kind of started singing along, and then he saw, oh, okay, wow, there's something there. So he really took me under his wing and kind of gave me the push in the right direction, and because he, growing up in England, was part of men's choirs and knew quite a bit about music, so it was kind of great to have someone, a mentor like that, like my grandfather, that could kind of take me under his wing and just kind of, okay, this is the direction. If you want to pursue music, this is where you want to be, you
Mm,
know. And then kind of from there, it evolved on its own, where I really had to take a lot of things under my own wing
mm,
and push myself and discipline myself to learn. Growing up in the country, being pretty far away from the city, there's not much opportunity for vocalist teachers or schoolings or anything like that. So I really had to discipline myself and use the library, or at the time it was dial-up internet, so be very patient with that while things loaded. And so anything that I could get my hands on to really give myself the opportunity to kind of soak everything up like a sponge, and then just go from there. I was able to meet with teachers, like, but it was more like a one lesson, like a one-off lesson, to kind of check in to make sure I wasn't picking up on bad habits. So I kind of, in a sense, feel like I'm definitely a self-taught vocalist, with the help of all my mentors, other vocalists I surround myself with, that I can reach out to and say, hey, I'm having trouble with singing, say, this vowel on a belt note. Have you ever done that? What works for you? So that's
mm.
kind of how I've always operated, is just reaching out, making connections, and getting, what works for them. Will that work for me?
Mm.
And just kind of sharing that insight.
That's good. That's good. With as far as like building the connections and all that, how long would you say that you've been doing that for?
Oh, a very long time, probably
Very long
since
time.
I did, like, really seriously get into music.
Mm,
For a while, I would be part of a community choir here in Huntsville, and then any musical theater. anything that I could really get my hands on to meet people and just kind of get myself out there. And of course, at the time, just get used to singing in front of people, kind of
Mm,
building that side of confidence, because it's one thing to hide away in your studio, because there's no one watching. So it's like, okay, that's fine,
sure.
but if you want to be in front of an audience or a live vocalist, that's a whole new experience in itself. So you got to
Mm,
find ways to help build that confidence of just being in front of people and them
sure.
looking at you.
Yeah, yeah. Do you like that pressure personally? With like people watching you and stuff like that? Do you feel like that's constructive?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's wonderful. There's something magical about live concerts, especially when you can see that whether it's a musician or a vocalist, a band, whomever, you can just feel the passion from them. And
Mm,
then it just gets sent out to the audience. And then as the audience member, if you feel that, you pretty much automatically just give that right back to them. Be like,
mm.
yeah, I'm here. I'm living this moment with you, and I'm like loving every minute.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I think there's something absolutely beautiful and profound when you get to experience those moments from live concerts, and you can
Mm,
make a connection with your audience or even just one person in the audience. Like it can definitely be a game changer for some people. And there's some people who say, oh, I went to this concert and it changed my life. I just felt so connected, like I think that's just really, really beautiful to get to experience, whether you're the artist performing or just in the audience. Yeah.
yeah. How long would you say that you've been singing professionally for?
Professionally, I'd probably give myself maybe 5 years,
Okay.
like, because I did a lot of live concerts,
Mm,
and then only recently, when COVID hit, did I
mm.
really kind of my direction moved towards a recording studio and
Wow.
learning how to work with microphones and programs, like Pro Tools is my main program that I use to record in, and then learning about the equipment and so it opened up a whole new direction and road, and I walked through that door, and I'm just so proud that I did, because
Mm,
where I am today, I would never have thought in a million years the people that I've met, and many who I might call friends,
mm.
have created such beautiful friendships from, and getting to collaborate with such immense talents. It's just overwhelming sometimes, that it's like, wow, I get to do this, and
Yeah.
I've gotten to meet some really cool people.
Yeah.
So,
It's
so
crazy.
definitely, oh, it's crazy and just so beautiful. It's
Yeah.
it's yeah.
It seems like every time I check out your profile, you're always coming out with a new piece of music. It's insane. Like a new collaboration, a new idea. It's just insane how hard you work. It's very
Oh,
commendable.
thank you very much. No, I
Yeah.
mean, I owe it all to you and the community that I'm surrounded with. Like, if I would not be here if not for everybody who's been trusting me with their music, or if they had an idea and they thought of me and
Mm,
and asked if I'd like to be part of it. So, for me, it's the deepest love that I have in my heart for the community that I'm surrounded with, like, yourself and everybody, all the composers and other vocalists who just have shown me such support and belief in
mm.
me, and wanted to work with me, and so it's yeah, it means quite a lot to me.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no word to really describe the immense, like, joy and love that I have, and deep appreciation for everybody that I am surrounded by,
Mm,
and or people who are just wanting to follow my career. Even they mean so much to me. That
mm.
they're here to support me and love what I do. So yeah, it's beautiful.
Definitely, it's definitely a pleasure. I mean, it just seems like every time that I see you, you're always working, you're always busy, and a lot of the comments and feedback that I see with a lot of your social media posts, it's nothing but love, nothing but support, and you're a ferocious talent, Amy. We love to
Oh,
work with you, and
thank
it's
you.
it's it's a tremendous honor.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. With that in mind, Amy, I really want to talk about our track Exploration. So, Exploration was a track that was a very, I guess you could say it was definitely an experimental track, at least for me personally, that fell into um just fell into the lap of something that was unexpectedly beautiful.
Yeah.
I remember when I had reached out to you for it, it was in the midst of a little thing that we were going through where I initially had another singer on board. And then it just transformed into a way that our stars aligned in
Yes.
such an incredible way that, it just at that moment with that other singer, it didn't fall in line, but with you, it happened so naturally, so beautifully. And we got the project done in like about 2.5 weeks time. And
Yeah.
it was just so incredible. Can you tell me about like how you felt about the experience with Exploration? Like, your thoughts about the track, any feedback that you have, anything like that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you reached out, of course, like I had the biggest grin on my face. Just like, yes. You know? So I mean, and like you said, when the stars aligned and I was the chosen vocalist,
Yeah.
like what a humbling, feeling that I get to work with you on
Yeah.
such a beautiful track. And then you get to hear the track and you're like, oh my goodness, like this is gorgeous. So, so I was extremely honored that I was going to get to have the experience first off. And then, what I loved about this track and your guidance on it was I really got to delve into a very softer side of my vocals that I don't normally get to really play around with, or very rarely I get to play around with.
Mm,
So it really was wonderful to get to just really pull back, let's
yeah.
say on the reins,
Yeah.
and just go into a different realm of my voice again, and discover that part of me and
Mm,
get to express that through the music. And I mean, it was just a beautiful experience to once again play and get to see where my voice can take me, what I can do with it. And that's what I love about being creative and collaborating, is just
mm,
the playing, the playfulness of,
right.
what's going to work, what's not going to work, let's try this, let's try that.
Right.
And so it's always exciting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it was such a very powerful track. And whenever I play it with people, I mean, they're always so shocked of just how gorgeous of a synergy that it has between the vocals and the music, and everything just
Yeah,
aligns and correlates so beautifully.
yeah,
And it was such a magical experience. And I
yeah.
remember I think I finished that track compositionally like late 2021. Um
Mm.
and or excuse me, 2022, sorry. And it was one of those things that I knew that whoever is featured on this track is going to do such an incredible job. It's going to be impeccable. And I just felt like you were just the right choice for that. And it was just so awesome. So definitely
Oh,
a pleasure.
oh, pleasure was all mine.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. I want to ask you, now that we're talking about that, do you regularly listen to meditative and ambient music?
Yes, I love it very much. And there's a lot of people that I follow or whom I'm friends with that are composers in that genre.
Mm,
And there's something very profound of the ambient world, like there's the great thing about the ambient world as well is that there's you can have Celtic ambient or
mm,
fantasy or space. Like it's endless. There's
yeah.
endless possibilities with it. And also, if you want a vocalist, there's endless possibilities of what the vocalist could bring to it, to elevate it to a whole new level. So it's definitely a genre that I love, and
Mm,
that I'm very honored that I get to I've had to sing on a few
mm,
times, and so it's definitely something I'd like to keep pursuing, and to get to just showcase more of that gentle side,
yeah.
and so yeah, no, I definitely love ambient.
Yeah. Yeah.
Need to sleep,
Exploration.
right? Or you just got to come down from the day, you just
Yeah.
throw on, like some, composer, and there you go.
Absolutely. Exploration was such a very unique track because it was subtle and sweet, but also like powerful at the same time. So like
Yes.
initially when the idea came to be to provide a vocalist on it, at the moment, I kind of didn't really know what direction that we were going to take. And so like,
Yeah.
I think like we started off like, soft, and then there was some like powerful, and then it's just like, hold up, like, do we need to
Yeah.
go more soft or like,
Yeah.
it
I
was a
know, it was
crazy,
wonderful to get to see the evolution of it,
yeah,
and to what after the mastering, what it
yeah.
is now,
Oh,
and you can just feel the story in it,
mm,
which is what I love about the track is from start to finish, there
mm,
is a story there, and you can easily picture, what these astronauts are going through, and the story of what they're seeing, and
yes.
follow them through that song, sorry,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and so that's what I love about it too, is that there is a visual aspect when you can close your eyes and you can see it as well
Mm,
as hear it, it's like, yeah, that's
I love it.
special right there.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, that was definitely the intention. I really wanted to convey some type of like a visual expectation
Yeah,
to what was really possible with that kind of sound, because space ambient was something very, very new to me. I mean, before 2022, I had never messed with it.
yeah.
And now that, or now that we're excuse me, 2023. Sorry. I keep on getting my years mixed up. And but yeah, now that we're like kind of deep diving into it, it's just like, man, like it's just so crazy how it's just evolving, and just how well other people resonate to it. And gosh,
Yes.
whenever you got on board with that project, it was just like, wow. I mean, it was just so immersive and crazy and
Thank
cinematic,
you.
and oh man, it was just awesome.
Thank you. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
thank you for having me.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Um, with that being said, Amy, what has been the like, I guess your most favorite types of music projects to be involved with? I know that you've touched on the collaboration aspect, like do you do any solo projects? What's that looking like?
Yeah, so I try to keep up with doing things like if there's a song I've always wanted to cover,
Mm,
like I always try to keep up on solo ones that way, that anything that might help build my portfolio to
yeah.
kind of say, oh, here's this side of my voice, and here's another side of my voice, and here's this side of my voice. So I'm
Mhm,
always trying to pick and choose music that will, if I can do it, if I feel confident that I can produce something special, or more or less help the vision of the composer,
mhm,
then I'll definitely dive in, 100%, but genres that are my favorite, um, I feel like every every composer or anyone I've ever worked with, whether solo or with collaborations, everybody has it's all been such a unique experience. I love the idea of the Vikings and
mhm.
like the big sounds, where I can really get very gritty in my voice and almost like kind of like a rock star, I guess, that gritty kind of like husky voice,
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
so getting to play around with that side of my voice, and it's like, okay, that's kind of neat. It's very like a banshee screaming, like
Yeah.
like kind of like Dune soundtrack, I guess is
Mm,
the best way to describe it. So, that's been a really cool avenue I got to go down with a few tracks to really feel that within my voice, how does it feel? And then, and discover new things about myself vocally that,
mm.
I didn't think was possible. And then once you apply it, and it's like, okay, I can do that. That's really
Yeah.
cool,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know, and then, you have the softer side working with you and other artists like State Azure, who does a lot of ambient as well,
Mm,
where you can really see how far you can put breath behind the voice. So it's like you hear it, but you're not sure if it's there or if it's the music. Like there's a hint of something that's just floating,
mm,
like what is that,
mm,
So it's cool to get to play with that really gentle and soft side of the voice too,
mm.
and so I do like tracks where I can just go crazy and whether I have to do it softly or big, that's usually my process is just like give whatever, like way up here, let's just go big, and then let's see where it's going to settle, and then keep going from there, so yeah.
That's cool. That's cool how, because I feel like that's a lot of how we started off with exploration. Like we started loud and proud, and
Yeah,
then we kind of like found our sweet spots. And that's kind of cool how you
yeah,
explain that, because I kind of understand how you process it, and how you go about it,
yeah,
which is really interesting, because I feel like a lot of
yeah,
singers might have other interpretations, like they'll start off soft and
yeah,
and then they'll build it up. But with you,
yeah.
it's
It's the opposite. Yeah.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know if that's like the opera singer in me, where it's just like always big and way up here. And then it's like, okay, oh, I like that, but let's try it in a softer tone. Or I think for when we were doing our track, there was like a certain melody that
Mm.
I did, and you really liked it, but we were like, let's try it really nice and quiet and gentle. It's like, that
Yeah.
was it. Okay,
Yes.
perfect. So it's, yeah, I'm one of those vocalists that is like, I give like 20 different ideas, and then it's just like, sorry, here's a whole whack of ideas and inspiration I
Yeah.
got with your music. Let's start from there, and then just pick and choose, and then start putting the puzzle pieces together until we get the final picture. And yeah.
It's good that you're that way though, because I feel like it's a little bit more of like a stronger adaptation to start out confidently and loud, and then just like find that sweet spot and taper down, rather more so
Exactly.
than, starting off too quiet and you just can't really hear anything, and you have to
Yeah.
like go,
Yeah,
go,
it's like,
go.
you got this.
Yeah, yeah. And so that's really cool. That's
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah, I think I also got that because I did go to acting school. And I think the training that I had in there, because they were always like that, they were always instilled in the students, start up here because it's
Mm.
easier to pull back than it is to try and, like you were just saying, get somebody to get bigger and louder. So
Right, right.
I guess that's just always been in my head with my training, with acting, is just always meet it, 100%, full energy,
Yeah.
inspiration, and then let's, if it needs to be pulled back, pull it back,
That's cool.
and kind of go from there.
That's cool. No, that's a very, very good trait, that you learned there. So that's awesome. I mean, it definitely
Yeah.
played a wonderful part in our track, and
Yeah.
it continues to keep you busy. And so like
I'm not.
I'm seeing it. I mean, it's just like every single month, like there's just always something happening with Amy Wallace, and I love to see it. You're such an incredible talent.
Thank you.
And you deserve that spotlight. You deserve to be, featured on these tracks, and it's just you're awesome to work with. And so I
Thank
mean,
you so
it
much.
yeah, absolutely. And so Amy, what are the projects that you're working on now? Is there anything that you want to share that you're working on currently?
Yeah, a good friend of mine, Tile, him and I are releasing a 30-minute ambient track inspired by ancient Egypt about the god Thoth. It's been I love ancient history, and especially Egypt. And Thoth was always been one of my favorite gods. So I always had this idea of doing something around that, or creating something with gentle vocals, and exploring that side of me. And and I didn't know it at the time, but I guess Tile had the same vision where he's always wanted to do something about ancient Egypt. and
Hmm.
and I just happened to reach out to him and say, hey, I had this idea, and this is kind of the melody that was in my head. Like, what do you think? And then he just took it under his wing. He's like, 100%, like, let's do this,
Wow.
and I mean, he's such a brilliant composer. Like, what he did with it, he created a 30-minute track in like record time because he was already coming back saying, all right, I'm ready for your vocals. I'm like, what?
Oh
Like,
my
it was
gosh.
he was just he's absolutely incredible, you know, and such a beautiful up and coming composer, and I'm so excited for his future as well.
Mm,
But it was just such a wonderful experience to work with him on this track and to see
mm,
it come to fruition for both of us, you know, because
mm,
once we shared that, it was both of our dream to do something about ancient Egypt. You know, it was really kind of, it made it that much more exciting to work on.
mm,
So that's coming out on the 22nd. And then I'm working with my brother, which I'm very excited about,
mm.
who's a composer himself, and he's just getting started into the music world. And I'm sharing the stage with my dear friend Kendra, who's a gorgeous vocalist as well.
Mm.
So her and I are doing a collaboration with my brother, and it's Casper. If anybody's ever grown up with Casper, so we thought do something fun for kind of Halloween, right? And I've always
Yeah.
loved and it's the action, the live action one that was in the 90s at some point,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
way back in
yeah.
the childhood. But there
Wow.
was always something about that melody. The first time I heard it, I was like, this is gorgeous.
Mm.
And so I wanted to do something with it. And it's one of those things that, you know, you have a list of songs that like, oh, it'd be great to cover this one or reimagine it and everything. And then it just so happened that, you know, as you put it, the stars aligned that my brother and I and my friend could work on it finally. And
Wow.
my brother composed it or rearranged it
Mm.
and composed some original works around the main melody. And what he did with it was just like mind blowing. Like the
Oh.
piano work in it, I'm like, Christopher, like this is stunning. So I'm excited to introduce him
Mm.
into my world and hopefully my friends and everything like that, you know, because I'm just so proud of him. And you
Oh.
know, he's been working hard as well, so it's just great to get to share that with my brother, like this moment. So I'm really excited to share that with everybody, hopefully in October.
Yeah, yeah. Y'all are y'all trying to put that
So
out like on Halloween or
yeah. So
yeah?
that's so I do a lot of the music video, the creation as well. So
Mm.
I'm trying to make us look like ghosts.
Wow.
But friendly ghosts, Casper, right? So
Yeah,
but like
absolutely.
so it's been a learning curve where I can show that side of my creativity as well as the video creation as well, and
Mm.
learning how to make that effect and everything. So I'm really excited to showcase a new side of me that for my videos and stuff, and hopefully keep going from there too. Just keep
Absolutely.
learning.
Yeah, hey, that's all that we're doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Amy, this was an absolute pleasure. I loved taking a little bit of a deep dive with you into understanding, your approach with music, what you're currently working on, how fun it was for us to do exploration together.
Yes.
And man, we have so much cool things coming out in the future. And it's
Yeah.
definitely not going to be the last time that you and me work together. I would love to have the honor of working with you again.
I will
Um,
be honored and
yes,
delighted.
absolutely. Well, Amy, thank you so much for coming on board the Powered by Music podcast.
Thank
And
you for having me.
yeah, absolutely. It was such a pleasure. And I'm so excited for, all the things that you have going on and with what
Thank
you continue to do with your music and the community. It's
you.
just so awesome. So yeah, guys, well, that just about wraps up this episode. Definitely stay tuned for more upcoming episodes with Powered by Music, where we talk about everything music. And y'all have a blessed day, and we'll see you on the next episode, guys. But y'all take it easy. See ya.